Holy moly, does Brian have something to talk about?
Thank you for that, Elizabeth. Meanwhile, the president repeatedly promised he wouldn't let Detroit go bankrupt when he bailed out the auto industry.
And so when some people said we should let Detroit go bankrupt, we decided, no, we're going to make a bet on the American worker and American industry. Even when there were some politicians who were saying, let's let Detroit go bankrupt. And with 1 million jobs on the line, we weren't going to let that happen.
But we refused to throw in the towel and do nothing. We refused to let Detroit go bankrupt.
But yesterday, a federal judge cleared the way for Detroit's bankruptcy to move forward. What does that mean for the city and other cities that could be at risk, especially those counting on pensions from that city? Joining us right now, Stuart Varney. Stuart, you did point out that when he was saying Detroit, he meant the car industry. Right. And now the city is gone bankrupt, yes, and they've accepted their fate. What does that mean for the pensions?
If you work for a city, you're a retired city worker, and it's a financially troubled city, you should be worried, because Detroit's bankruptcy sets a new pattern. It sets a new model, because the Detroit bankruptcy judge has said, yes, you can cut pensions. Doesn't matter what it says in the Michigan State Constitution, doesn't matter what the unions say. Yes, says the judge, you can cut pensions. Now, pensions for retired workers are the key problem for troubled cities across the country. Now they've got this new model. Detroit says you can cut those pensions. So you better get pretty worried if you're in these troubled cities all across the country.
Well, look, Detroit is really in some troubled times. Like a third of the city is unoccupied, but they're going to bounce back this year, we hope. Total debt right now is between 18 and 20 billion. The pension shortfall is 3.5 billion. Unfunded health care, 5.7 billion. Yep. And people are leaving, 63% since the 1950s when it was roaring. You got 78,000 abandoned structures, many of which are going to be plowed under.
Now, look at that's a dreadful list of financial problems. Now, what are their choices for Detroit and other cities across the country? Well, they can cut the pensions. That's what Detroit is going to do. They can cut services some more so they can still pay the pensions. Well, that's not a very good option because services have already been cut across the country. They can raise taxes. That's a lousy option. They've raised taxes already. Or they can get a bailout.
Can you imagine how nervous these families are right now?
Yes, it's not
funny. I put in my 25 years,
yes,
I'm 35 years,
yes,
and one thing we can count on is a happy retirement.
Look, my heart goes out to these people. They earned those pensions, and they are going to be cut. I blame the politicians a generation ago who made promises which cannot be kept.
And the unions that cut the deals for then, not thinking of later. Stuart Varney and Varney & Company are going to watch you at 9:20.
I'm glad to hear it, Brian.
All right. Always great to see you.
Thanks, Brian.
All right. Meanwhile, 3 minutes before the bottom of the hour,